All right. Okay. Hello, this is Abby Lyle, and today we are going to discuss the purpose of the transfer sliding board. Our objectives today include learning about the basic info and facts of the sliding board, understanding how to transfer a patient with the sliding board, and understand how this object is helping the patient. A little bit of basic information. The prices can range from $15 all the way up to $100, depending on what type you buy, big or small, if it needs to be a little bit longer or shorter. A few popular places to order these sliding boards are at PHC Discount Medical Supply, Amazon.com, SouthwestMedical.com, which tends to be a little bit more pricey, and usually some cheaper ones you can even find at Walmart for around $30. There are quite a bit of different types of sliding boards. They could be smaller, shorter, or longer, depending on what type of help that patient needs. There could be some specific for toilet transfers, so the side going to the toilet doesn't get stuck in the water or in the toilet bowl. So you can see that right here, which is pretty handy dandy. Also, there's a certain type of sliding board called the Beezy that helps make sliding on surfaces easier, especially on the surface of the sliding board. This is tended to be for weaker patients, especially patients that cannot help you with their arms. So it just helps them slide a little bit so they don't fall off, I guess. Here is an example of that right here, and you can see the patient not really helping with their arms as much. And then here's a few different types. How to use. You can see that in these first two videos that I am using a different transfer board than in the other two videos I'm going to show you. The first two videos are going to be from the bed to the wheelchair and from the wheelchair back to the bed. And Jordan here is my patient. I'll just kind of explain what I'm doing as we go through it. In this first video, I make sure to put the brakes on the wheelchair. I also lift the arm of the wheelchair up. I lift it to one side so that the patient can have an easier time getting onto the wheelchair without the wheelchair getting in the way. I'm also putting the sliding board underneath one side of Jordan's hip just to make sure that they can really get on top of the sliding board, and I'm angling the other side of the board onto the wheelchair. As you can also tell, I counted to 3 so Jordan, the patient, could help me push him to the chair little by little. Also, we need to make sure to remind the patient not to put their fingers underneath the board so as not to pinch themselves, because that tends to happen sometimes. And here's our second example from the wheelchair back to the bed. Notice that I do the same thing with the sliding board under his hip. I also check for the brakes and the armrest. Also notice that my knees are supporting his when he is being transported for more stability. You can also see that I'm using the gait belt to help with support if he needs it. All right, and now I'm going to show you from the wheelchair to a shower tub bench and from a shower tub bench back into the wheelchair. Keep in mind that we do a lot of the same steps as we did in the first few videos. I'm checking to make sure the brakes are on, the arm is up, and the angle of the board is in the correct position. Feel good? You can see in this video that Jordan is helping me a lot, but we also need to keep in mind that the patient's not all patients will be this easy.
You're in a shower.
All right, and here's the last video.
Very nice.
As I said before, we need to keep in mind that not all patients will be this easy. Jordan was helping me quite a bit with his arms and with his legs, lifting them up out of the shower. So a couple things to remember is we need to count to 3 and let them know when to help lift up and scooch towards the desired destination. Also, we need to support with our knees on the patient's knees. We also need to have good mobility for the patient, so keeping their spine erect, their posture's good, while also maintaining good mobility for ourselves, the therapist, as well. We also need to remember to have a gait belt on all patients, especially for safety. And lastly, communicating with the patient is key. As you can see, transfer boards can be extremely helpful to the patient when it comes to getting from one location like the bed to another location like the wheelchair without falling or putting themselves in harm's way. Sliding and transfer boards are also helpful to the therapist, not only to create simple and easy support for the patient, but to keep themselves as the therapist safe as well. Thank you for listening.